Okay, so this is the first recording for the Lily Honora series, and we are starting with the new moon in April of 2023. So this is also a new moon in Aries, I believe. And the card around that one that actually was pre-drawn as part of a much bigger spread that I pull on a regular basis is the goddess of Yamoha, and I may be completely mispronouncing that. But that's the first card that we're going to start with, and she's the goddess of all that flows. So she is actually really representative of water and the feminine. So I love sticky notes for just keeping these concepts up here and easy for us to work with and remember. So we are working with the water element and the idea of the feminine aspects of all things kind of thing. So really the way I work with the cards is that they begin to tell us a story, and if we identify with the story, we can begin to pull the wisdom and the learnings out of aspects that we're identifying with and apply them into our life. And through that way, the oracle cards and the tarot help us heal. I also work in a healing profession, and so often some of the messages that I get pertain to certain wellness practices and that type of thing. So to me, this really strong presence of the water goddess, an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. So this is all about creativity. This is all about the yin, the very, very deep yin, the yin within the yin, which is interesting because we're actually really newly into the spring season as of March 21st. And so the water season is the element that we usually relate to winter. So we're actually seeing this very strong theme around the water element, and I would actually go right into the idea of making sure that you're getting enough water in your diet, that you're actually drinking 2 liters of clear water every day. That feels like a really strong message that's coming in as part of the Yamoha energy. And then to begin, we are going to start with the Angels of Abundance deck. So Yamoha came from the Divine Feminine deck, and I will get that information for you by the end of the recording. This one I'm working with, we're going to ask for some clarification here from our angels, using the Angels of Abundance from Doreen Virtue and her son, I think, Grant Virtue. So we're just going to shuffle these. Show me more regarding the water element, regarding this overreaching aspect and this theme for the upcoming new moon in a day or two. Let us show me what you need us to know. So I also work on the premise that if you are watching this and it's caught your interest, that there's probably some information and some healing in the cards being pulled and drawn and the messages that they have for you here today. So whenever you read this, whenever you watch this, regardless of the time, there is most likely something in it for you. But my focus is on our angels giving us more guidance, whatever information they have, whatever grace they can give us regarding this messaging around the water element at the new moon. Now, the interesting thing is the new moon is the technically the most feminine of the moons. It's the dark moon. So we are working very much with this idea of the feminine or the yin aspects of the body here. Okay. Okay. So here we've got the power of prayer, exercise to increase your energy and manifestation abilities, and obstacles and blocks are lifted. Okay. So with that water element is the aspect of flow and flowing and moving, and there's always movement with water. Now, water is the number one soluble substance, or the number one solute. So we are like big bags of water that walk around. Now, one of the things that defines how we walk around as a big bag of water are our thoughts and the vibrations that go with the thoughts that we have. And so, as well as making sure that we drink that 2 liters of water for just really good foundational health, especially at this time of the year. So once we've got that 2 liters of water and we're really good with our water intake, the second thing, especially in the spring, is we talk about movement, regular movement. And part of the reason why we need regular movement is actually to help move the water around our body and help it clean and cleanse and like get rid of all the kinds of things that have accumulated and are blocking the processes of our cells. And in that blocking the processes of our cells, it actually blocks our manifestation process, because our cells are where things really move from an idea or a potential into the physical reality of. So this is speaking a lot about just like from a really overall perspective of the season, really making sure that we're drinking enough water, making sure that we're keeping our thoughts really positive, that what are the thoughts that we're having about ourselves, what are the stories that we're telling about ourselves and the people around us in our life, and how we feel about them, making sure that we're getting enough movement. So literally 25 minutes of movement that doesn't really take your breath away, but pushes your cardio just a little bit, like you're moving. This helps to break down barriers inside the body, but it also begins to break down barriers inside the mind and allow the mind and the brain and the nervous system to operate differently. And so this is also going to allow it to, when we're in this place of flow, right? And so if you've ever been there, if you've ever like been in the flow, you know exactly the place I'm talking about. It's like magic is happening all around you. Everything is great. And we've all had those periods of time. And just like, when we're in those periods, we know they're awesome. And we also know that they can't last forever, just like we know that bad times can't last forever. And so one of the things about the water and being in flow and making sure that we have enough water in our systems and that we're using and propelling the movement of that water with exercise and movement of our bodies, as well as positive thoughts about ourselves and everything around us, that things in our life are just going to sort of like go away. It's like obstacles are just going to move away, be washed away gently in the flow that has become where we are in the rhythm of what we're working on. So that's kind of our main message right now on Umoja and the power of water in this spring new moon, that this is a really powerful new moon, a really powerful time for working with our yin energies, for working with our water element, and for using exercise and water. So, swimming, there's a mermaid on this card, and the idea of really swimming and using your legs like a flipper in many ways. So trying to do things in different ways. trying new things, getting ready for new water activities, but definitely with this idea of really wanting to incorporate drinking more water, being in water, bathing. I would definitely look at doing some kind of bathing ritual for the new moon over the next little while, with these cards showing up like this, and just allowing the water to wash away obstacles and blocks. Okay, we're also